G'day interwebs, I'm B-Man and this is Call of Cthulhu, the official game. It's Chapter 6, Part 6 of the playthrough. Hit the subscribe button and there is a playlist on my channel and in the top right of the video if you want to catch up on the previous parts of the playthrough. Chapter 6, The Hawkins Mansion. Pierce woke up in an asylum installed in the cellars of the Riverside Institute. He met Dr. Colden, a female friend of Bradley, who helped him to escape. Wandering through the corridors of this place where Dr. Fuller reigned supreme, Pierce was able to talk to a man named Francis Sanders. Before dying in full view of the detective, he accused Sarah Hawkins of being the cause of his torments. Pierce finally left the accursed building, accompanied by Bradley and Colden. The companions in misfortune decided to use the Hawkins mansion as a hideout. Let's go.
Who goes there? That nightmare again. I need a drink.
So I'm a private investigator, if you haven't watched any of the previous parts.
Fine, do what you want. I'm just trying to reason with you.
Yeah, I'm a private investigator. I was hired to investigate the case of Sarah Hawkins, who burned down this mansion, or parts of it, and killed her family. She also paints these really creepy paintings that people believe are cursed. So I've already explored the mansion once. I investigated it, and then I chased some masked guy down into the tunnels beneath the mansion. And there I found a cult who were talking about Cthulhu, like chanting to him. And the leader of the cult was her husband, who was supposedly murdered, but he had like a tentacle face. And he killed Officer Bradley. Then I woke up in an asylum and Officer Bradley was back alive. And this lady down here, Mary Colden, she helped me escape the asylum. But before I escaped, I found a guy named Sanders, and he was just like tossed around by some invisible force and killed.
No. I want to know what Bradley and Dr. Colden have to say about all this.
I don't remember this room from the first time I was here. Doesn't mean I wasn't here though.
You're awake, Mr. Pierce. How do you feel?
Did I sleep long?
The day is only starting. It's fine.
Just gonna have a quick look around here. See if there's anything to interact with. Booze. So Pierce has trauma from he has PTSD from war, and he likes to drink and he likes to take sleeping pills, but he hasn't got to drink since I started the game, because I skipped taking a hit from his bottle back in his office, and then the bartender on this island refused to serve me. I'm not even going to try that door because Pierce is going to be all like, no. Need to talk to Bradley. Talk to Bradley first because he's going to say nothing, I doubt.
How's our fugitive? Dr. Fuller hasn't reported your disappearance to the force, but that'll come soon.
Bradley?
Who else would it be?
Mr. Pierce, are you all right? You look like you saw a ghost.
There are things I can't explain.
Tell us. What happened?
Talk to Bradley or talk to Colden. I can say Sarah Hawkins was the object of a cult. What they had me endure, I might be onto a lead. think I say Sarah Hawkins was the object of a cult, which uses my occultism skill.
I saw people in hoods. They had stolen Mrs. Hawkins' paintings.
Who are you talking about? Why would they do such a thing?
I don't know, but they were a threat. They've taken over the caves under the mansion. They were performing some kind of ritual. One of the entryways was under Charles Hawkins' office.
We suspect Mr. Hawkins of being involved.
My patients believe the old islanders used to worship primitive sea gods. Could they be the focus of the cult?
Am I hearing this right?
So you think me gullible?
No, not at all.
What else did you uncover, Mr. Pierce?
I might be onto a lead. I have no idea what he's talking about, but I'm going to say that.
I met a Francis Sanders. Do you know him?
Of course, he's a patient. Or was. I haven't seen him since Dr. Fuller had him transferred to the basement.
He knew Sarah Hawkins, and that's what killed him.
What? How did he die?
I'm not sure I can explain it.
Tell me how Mr. Sanders died.
He called him the Shambler.
I didn't see what, but something was there, with us.
Of what do you speak?
Sanders said it was Sarah Hawkins' visitor. He spoke of it like a living being.
Sarah Hawkins? Have I missed something here? This makes no sense. I don't see how it can help crack the Hawkins case.
You really think she's involved? How could she have murdered Mr. Sanders?
Francis Sanders mentioned Mrs. Hawkins just before dying. It's no coincidence.
You know, Francis Sanders was a well-known art collector. I guess you can still pay a visit to his wife, Irene Sanders.
An art collector, you say? That's probably how they met.
If you plan on having dinner at the Sanders household, please spare the widow the tale of her late husband's suffering.
I don't agree. She deserves the truth.
But that truth may be biased. We don't know the bottom of it.
So through most of this conversation, Pierce has sounded really shaky and uncertain of himself, but that last line that he said, it just sounded like the voice actor was still in the booth from back when Pierce was like relatively sane. He just seemed to, his mental state seemed to really clear up for that last line. Let's stay prudent, or better to confront the truth. So, do I want to tell Irene Sanders about... I got a bad feeling about Irene Sanders, like she put her husband in the asylum. Let's stay prudent.
You're right. Without a plausible explanation for what I saw, let's not jump to conclusions.
See, sounds
That
really
seems wise
even.
indeed.
Very well. I'll go to see Francis's widow. Perhaps I'll find a link between her husband's death and Sarah Hawkins.
Don't end up in the hospital this time.
I'll do my best.
Okay, so you probably couldn't see it because it's in the top left corner of the screen. But when I decided to remain prudent with Mrs. Sanders, it said this will affect your destiny on the top left corner of the screen. It's the first time I've noticed it saying that. Hawkins Manor, talk to Sanders' widow. I finally reached the stairs that lead to the first floor of the Riverside Institute, but on the way I inhaled some gas that was leaking from a damaged pipe and I passed out. I remember Bradley, alive, really, who was talking to me, and I came to in the Hawkins mansion. I must understand what I'm doing here and what happens next. The Sanders and Sarah Hawkins were close, it's undeniable. The widow didn't tell me everything, but her house speaks for her. Everything began with Francis Sanders' obsession with the Shambler, an exceptional painting in more ways than one. The Shambler reminds me of Quake, but Quake had a lot of Lovecraftian references in it, so the Quake Shambler may have been named after an element of Lovecraft stories that I'm not aware of. I've only read a few of them. In theory, Francis Sanders was a renowned art collector. I must question his widow, Irene Sanders, to know more about his links with Sarah Hawkins and to discover the identity of the visitor he talked about before he died. Okay. Now, I believe I've got enough character points to raise a skill. Strength, investigation, eloquence, spot hidden, psychology. I mean, I'm an investigator, so I might get investigation. Oh, that's right, I've got to pile the points in there. Now, validate. I believe this is going to unlock me an achievement. Yes, there we go. Okay, how many points left? 2. Might as well keep them. Sanity. Oh, I've got 2 new traumas. Macabre discovery. Oh, it's a typo. Macabre discovery. It's a cafefe. I don't know how to pronounce macabre. Macabre, I've heard Bart Simpson pronounce it macabre. Macabre discovery. Searching through the cellars of the Riverside Institute, Pierce entered a room that he first took for a morgue. But the advanced state of decay of the corpses that lay about the place quickly made him realize that he was wrong. Nothing could justify the presence of such a carnal house in a hospital. Once again, I don't know the pronunciation. Carnal, charnel. I've never had to say it out loud. Nothing could justify the presence of such a carnal house in a hospital. Charnel. Carnal. The putrid smell and the total absence of respect for human life, as witnessed by this room, profoundly shocked Pierce, costing him some of his sanity. I don't remember that. It was a week ago that I last played. Oh, my sanity level is shaken. The ordeals I've gone through have left their mark, but I still manage as best as I can. I keep my mind busy in order to chase away doubts and painful memories. I still have some way to go. Who knows where my mind could lead me along the paths of insanity? Applies to Pierce and myself. The death of Francis Sanders. The weirdness of Francis Sanders' death went far beyond anything Pierce had ever seen. Lifted off his feet by an invisible force, the poor man's body was carried into the air before being thrown violently against the bars of his hiding place. Pierce, powerless, watched the limbs break and Sanders' body crumble to the ground. During long moments of agony, the detective saw nothing that could explain this event. Weakened by his wounds and the operations he could remember undergoing, Pierce begins to question his ability to tell the difference between reality and the nightmares that haunt him. Okay, I don't know if I would have that if I hadn't have answered about being, not telling Irene. Says I'm doubting myself. Francis Sanders, so he's the guy that was flung around and killed. Age 47, occupation art dealer. Francis Sanders knew Sarah Hawkins so well that he accused her of being the source of his suffering. The man gouged his eyes out with his own hands and smeared the walls of his cell with esoteric symbols. He seems to be obsessed with a Shambler linked to Sarah Hawkins. He died before my eyes in circumstances that I cannot explain. And here's Dr. Fuller. He's the, it says there, age 52, Riverside senior physician. Dr. Fuller reigns as the undisputed master of the Riverside Institute and of its cellars, in which he carries out illegal experiments on his patients. I don't know what he has done to me, but I shouldn't be back on my feet so soon after my fall when the tunnels under the Hawkins mansion caved in. This man is dangerous, and I'd swear that he knows more about all this business than he's willing to tell. Yeah, so that raises an interesting point. When I first woke up in the Riverside Institute, my arms were all bloody and messed up, and then they sedated me, and when I woke up again, my arms looked fine. I didn't think that was an actual story element. I thought maybe it was just an inconsistency or something, but according to, it's actually mentioned here in his biography. Places. Cellars of the Riverside Institute. Strictly speaking, I didn't spend much time in the hospital. When I woke up, I was immediately transferred into the cellars of the Institute, a sort of clandestine asylum. where Dr. Fuller carried out his experiments on patients without being troubled. Unknown machines sit beside anatomical drawings that are disturbing, to say the least. I just managed to escape from this place. I might not have as much luck another time. Clues. Chapter 5. Medical record of Sarah Hawkins. Sarah Hawkins was interned at Riverside for fits of insanity a while before her death. She wasn't at her first attempt with the fire at the mansion. I have a really bad ticking in my headset. I hope it's not coming through in the video. Knowledge. Whoops. Breviary of Medicine, Tome 1. This heavy tome, the first in a series of 3 volumes, is the bedside book of every experienced practitioner. It contains all the recent advances in modern medicine. It is frequently found in libraries of major medical universities. It is surprising to discover a copy in such an isolated place as Darkwater. Incision and bleeding, good practice. The controversial practice of bleeding is still exercised today. This book explains in minute detail the different methods as well as the instruments required. These methods are outdated, not very effective, and it is to be hoped that the reading of such a work is purely for historical purposes. Feel the need to check the room again in case interactions have become available since talking to them. But they haven't. This game contains a lot of huge areas where you think you'd be able to interact with a lot of things, but in reality you can only really interact with like a few items that give the story.
The other night's events are still confused in my head.
I bet they are. You died.
Let us go now and learn the truth about what's happening on this island.
Alright, I imagine the game wants me to go out through that door, so I'm going to go out try and use the top door. They're both interactable. Yes, I'm going to try the top one. Chapter 6, Sanders' Residence. Pierce, Colden and Bradley decided to team up to solve the Sarah Hawkins case. They have a new trail to follow. Francis Sanders, an art collector and friend of the painter who died right in front of Pierce. The detective goes to his house in order to speak to his widow about the Shambler that the unfortunate man mentioned before he died. I wonder if there's a cutscene or if I'm just going to teleport from the Hawkins mansion to the Sanders residence. I don't like that there are different area names under the same chapter. I don't know what I'm going to title my video.
What can I do for you, sir?
Mrs. Sanders, I'm a private detective. We must talk about your husband and his ties to Sarah Hawkins. Can I come in?
You may. However, before we go any further, please know that my husband died yesterday.
That is precisely what brings me here.
Well, well, look who's here. You know each other?
We met briefly. Time enough to iron out a few matters. The brave detective has a talent for sticking his nose into my business.
I bump into her every time I'm investigating someone's death.
It's a small island, Detective. My island. It's better that it's you bumping into me.
You're investigating Francis' death. Why? Who hired you?
I spoke to Francis before he died. His story suggests a link to a case I'm working on.
Well, since this business has got nothing to do with me, I'll be in your husband's office, Irene. We'll carry on later.
Very well, Miss Baker. This way, Mr. Pierce. And do make yourself comfortable. It would seem that you have much to tell me. May I inquire as to when you had the opportunity to talk to my husband?
Yesterday, I met him at the hospital. He spoke to me about Sarah Hawkins.
Oh, of course he spoke to you about her. That's all he talked about. Sarah Hawkins and her paintings. Please forgive my tone. The fact is that I have not been allowed to see him since he was interned. You, on the other hand, a perfect stranger, were able to see him and even talk with him the day he died. How was he? Were you present when he had this attack? What happened?
Psychology. You must not feel guilty. I'm gonna try that.
What happened to your husband is terrible, Mrs. Sanders. But from what I saw, it was inevitable.
Being tactful.
The man I met yesterday had lost his reason. He suffers no longer, if you would allow me such a platitude.
Of course. Thank you for your kind words. Nobody in that hospital would have deigned to speak them to me. However, it will require more than that to soothe my mind. I need to understand. How could this happen? In a reputed institute? And right before your eyes? Did you not do anything to help him?
Well, I didn't say you must not feel guilty. Oh, I guess I did. I was interpreting it as, hey, you seem a bit innocent, but I guess I was telling you, don't feel guilty, please. Okay, whatever. I share your grief, but I had nothing to do with it to test my eloquence. The true culprit is Fuller. It wasn't me who sent him there. I think I'm going to say that. I'm going to test my eloquence. No. It wasn't me who sent him there, seems a bit rough. But it's the truth, so I might say it.
With all due respect, Mrs. Sanders, it was you who sent him to this asylum, not me.
How dare you? What was I supposed to do, Detective? Upon seeing such a brilliant mind disintegrate in this way, waking with a start every night with him shrieking in horror, petrified before this accursed painting, unable to look away, until he managed to gouge his eyes out with his own hands. I should have listened to Dr. Fuller, let him intern him months ago. If I am to be condemned, it is because I did not act sooner.
I'm not here to condemn you, Mrs. Sanders.
Oh, I'm tired, Mr. Pierce. I would be grateful if you could tell me what you expect of me, and then leave.
Did he speak to you of a Shambler?
Did your husband talk to you about Sarah Hawkins' visitor? A Shambler, to use his precise terms.
Well, you can imagine that's all he talked about. It's exhibited at the center of the gallery. No better place for the painting that endowed him with the privilege of such a shameful and miserable end to his life.
Hold on. The Shambler is a painting by Sarah Hawkins.
Who else to paint such horrors? Take a look for yourself, if you feel so inclined.
It is my only lead at this stage. I suppose I have nothing to lose.
Then you have paid no heed. For my part, I refuse to set foot in that gallery again. But if you're so eager to see it...
Thank you, Mrs. Sanders. I won't be long.
Got a character point. Irene Sanders, age 41, occupation none. It's clear that she holds Sarah Hawkins responsible for the death of her husband. What I don't understand about Irene Sanders is this mix of sadness and insensitivity. It looks like she had given up on her husband long before his horrid death in the cellars of the Riverside Institute. Yeah, there were questions there I didn't get to answer. There were questions there I didn't get to ask her. I never know if I should be asking the unlocked questions first or the regular questions first. Like maybe the unlocked questions end the dialogue. Well, I've had other situations where just regular questions have ended the dialogue, so who knows?
The day the Shambler came into the Sanders' lives.
A photograph of Sarah Hawkins next to the Sanders. They must be close. Mr. Sanders looks pretty proud. Now I've got a reconstruction, so I'm going to look around the rest of the room first. Oh, that other lady who was here, Kat, she's like a bootlegger. I met her in town. This second breviary of medicine, tome 2. I don't know if I'm pronouncing breviary correctly. The second volume in this series covers everything from gas gangrene to trench nephritis. In addition to a precise and detailed study, the book presents some avant-garde theories. The incredible complexity of this book reserves it for medical experts. So your medicine skill in this game is you boost it by finding items. Alright, so I can walk out and then walk back. I mean, why would we leave the car lights on? Oh, maybe Colden and Bradley are still in the car. Okay, let's examine the Shambler. Yeah, the Shambler was like a sort of a really tough monster from Quake. I imagine it also might be part of Lovecraft lore, but I don't know. Psychology.
Frances Sanders and Sarah Hawkins were close. Friends, even? A house of artists.
I do know because I have read Call of Cthulhu. Lovecraft had this thing where there are these Lovecraftian beings, and they can like speak to you telepathically or drive you insane. And artists seem to be particularly susceptible to them.
Sanders' accession register. He wrote beside the Shambler, "Finally." What did Sarah Hawkins fear so much that she didn't want to sell the painting?
Wow, it wasn't there before. Okay, it says to examine the Shambler, so that must be the Shambler. Maybe it was there before. Pretty sure I wouldn't noticed it. I can't walk out of the crime scene now. Okay, I'm pretty sure the way this works is I have to find every clue before it ends, so I'm not losing anything if I don't. Just see if I can leave this way. Nope. Anything here? Nope, 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 nope.
He finally won. Was Sanders aware of his imminent doom?
Okay, there must still be stuff here.
A house of artists.
Oh, I can actually look at the people. So that's psychology.
Was she jealous of Sarah Hawkins?
Man, I'm noticing some typos. That actually said the subtitle down the bottom says, was she jealous? Between that and the way the sound keeps cutting out, I'm like, have you guys released a patch for this game since it was released? Why can't I... There we go.
She didn't want Sanders to have the painting. She must have felt devastated.
Okay, I suddenly wish I had have put a point into my occult skill.
The Shambler. I need to see it.
Really? I don't know art, but I know what makes me gouge my eyeballs out.
Did she really care for him after all?
Dear Madam, I acknowledge receipt of the letter in which you demand the body of your deceased husband. I am sorry to inform you that I cannot agree to return his body to you. At the moment of his interment, you signed a discharge, allowing me to dispose of his body as I see fit. I extend my deepest condolences to you, Thomas Fuller. So, no autopsy, I guess. Another thing I should mention is that everyone on this island seems to be eating the meat of some weird carcass that they fished up from the sea 4 years ago that they call the miraculous catch. The people in the town are all singing these weird chants and stuff, and yeah, I'm not sure what eating the miraculous catch did to them. So that's why I'm so obsessively searching. Like, that wasn't there before I did the investigation.
Let's see what this cylinder has to say once it's inserted in a phonograph.
Edison gold molded record. An audio recording that Francis Sanders left for his wife Irene. So yeah, I don't know a lot about storage devices from the 1920s, but I assume this is what they kept their MP3s in back then. If I plug it into this phonograph, it'll probably connect me to Spotify. Gaspard standard phonograph.
Irene, I made a mistake. I fear that it might be too late for me. Nobody should enter, except to burn everything. I never had the courage. Pay somebody to do it. He's inside my head. I see him behind my eyelids each time I shut my eyes. I can't take any more. I can't hold him back. Forgive me.
That accursed gallery. Those accursed paintings. That accursed Sarah.
Okay, so let's go and look at these paintings that drive everyone who looks at them insane. Is this the exit? I think this might be the exit. I'm going to go through all your other rooms while I'm here, Irene. Attempt to. Is that cubism? I don't know much about art. It's the Red Keep, I'm pretty sure. Come on, that was moving. That was moving. I saw that moving. What triggered it? That was the second time I walked up to this table. I know that was moving. This game will give me a key and make me go back through all the locked doors. Is that cat? She's not very nice to me whenever I talk to her.
I could use one of those.
Sleeping pills. I found these sleeping pills in the Sanders house. Were they prescribed to Francis Sanders or to Irene? Yeah, so there are all these people having dreams and they want sleeping pills. There was a guy in the asylum who told me that they all have nightmares and that sleeping pills are the only thing that get rid of them. And in order for him to distract the guards, he made me steal him some sleeping pills. Dreamcatcher?
A strange Amerindian pendant.
Amerindian? I've never heard that word. An ancient amulet, probably Amerindian. I wonder what its purpose could be. So does Amerindian mean Native American? At the Sanders. Cross-checking the information given by Francis Sanders and his widow, it is possible to reconstruct the events that led to the internment of Sanders. Everything points to Sanders and Sarah Hawkins being close, linked at least by the interest of the collector showed in the artist's work, but more probably by a certain friendship, attested to by the repeated refusals of Sarah Hawkins to sell the painting called the Shambler. Against all expectations, she finally gave it away for free. The feelings still shown by Irene Sanders towards Sarah Hawkins are evidently derived from what she considers to be the artist's responsibility. Madness struck Sanders a short while after he gained possession of the painting. I just realised, like, the Necronomicon and this, like, Lovecraft really seems to like the idea that, like, humans can create artwork that drives people nuts. Letter of refusal. Dear Madam, I acknowledge the receipt of your letter in which you demand... I've already read that. Inventory. An audio recording that Francis Sanders left for his wife Irene.
Strange. For months, Sarah Hawkins refused to part with her painting, to finally give it away for nothing.
Dear Francis, I beg you to give up all hope of ever owning this accursed painting. Accursed. If our friendship has any meaning for you, please spare me the weight of guilt. I cannot be the architect of your fall. I beg you, my dear friend, forget the Shambler. Your friend Sarah Hawkins. Okay, so a few minutes ago, I can't remember what I was doing, but I mentioned that for her to give the painting away for free. But to me, this is the first clue that has shown that she gave it away for free. Although I looked at his ledger, maybe that said $0 on it. I didn't pay attention. I wish it wouldn't give me notifications for the clues that, like, I flat out get to read while... Liber Iob. Prologue. And I can't read anything else.
Another volume of the Reverend's wife's diary.
This volume spends some time on Reverend Wickwood's community. I'm more like another volume of the Reverend's wife's diary, but I'm not sure if this is the first one that I found. This volume spends some time on Reverend Wickwood's community. His wife expresses her worries about the strange dreams that the Reverend's congregation are having since their arrival on the island. Some members of the community, her husband included, began to speak of their vision as a messenger sent by God. She is scared that they will suffer the same fate as the lost tribe. Okay, because I'm playing this game once a week, I'm a little bit scratchy on some of the lore. Apparently my memory doesn't last a whole week. Okay. Dissertation on an anatomical question is the work of a student in book form. Although the observations are relevant, they lack the expertise of an experienced physician. However, the questions asked allow us to imagine new ways of exploring human anatomy. Did I get a whole point? Nope. It seems to go up 1%. Key to the Sanders gallery. So, will that open everything or opens this door? Would you read the book? Don't read the book. I'm going to talk to her first.
That's twice you've stepped on my toes, Detective. Try not to make a habit of it.
I've got a lot of bad habits.
Some can be more fatal than others. What have you come looking for in this gallery?
I'm not here to create problems for you. Another painting by Sarah Hawkins. It's none of your business, or I've got to verify the paintings for a buyer. It's none of her business, but I'm going to use this unlocked answer and say I'm not here to create problems for you.
I'm not here to cause trouble, if that's what's worrying you.
Worry me? Don't overestimate yourself. If the last beating wasn't enough for you, I can always give it another go. But as long as you keep out of my way, you're free to carry on with your visit.
Oh yeah, her, Kat and her men beat me up in Chapter 2. And you, what are you doing here? Well, very well. Might as well get some info out of her if I can.
And you? What brings you to the Sanders home?
I'm here on business. Irene asked me to liquidate all these paintings. She doesn't intend to hang around here for long.
Why you?
Believe it or not, there aren't many collectors on Darkwater. It needs someone with a network and a means of transport to the mainland. A choice that comes down to Fitzroy and me. And I'm far more pleasant, wouldn't you say?
Okay, she reminds me of Alex Danvers from Supergirl. I like her, she's a strong female character. Cat, I mean.
Not now, sweetheart. I'd like to read this without some snoop looking over my shoulder.
Okay, I don't know why I wouldn't read this book. Nothing has given me an indication not to. Malleum Bestiarium. Right, that sounds familiar. I think I've heard of it in the game, and I possibly have heard of it outside the game in other Lovecraft lore. I'm gonna read it. Would you read the book? Yes. Malleus Bestiarium Volume 2. Where was Volume 1? Accept to read an unholy book. Achievement. It is a kind of encyclopedia of monstrous and unknown creatures. I'm beginning to believe that they exist. Okay, so weird dogs and some tentacles. And there's the symbol that Sanders, I keep just calling him Sanders because I can't remember his name, Francis Sanders, had all over his cell in the asylum. Starting to wonder if it's the sign of the elder sign that Lovecraft mentions occasionally. Alright, occultism. Dimensional Shambler. The Dimensional Shambler comes from a dark and inhospitable dimension where the rarity of food sources keeps it in a state of permanent starvation. This is why it is in a constant state of readiness to travel to other dimensions in order to feed on its inhabitants. Make sure you never weaken the vows of your dimension, otherwise you risk attracting this very dangerous creature. Should this happen, you just have to lay eyes upon it for its being, to anchor itself in your dimension and to allow it to rip you open with its claws. Extract taken from the Malleus Bestiarium by Abigail G. I wonder if it was volume 1 that I missed. Malleus Bestiarium. Men will gather the knowledge through the lines dictated to me by the great old ones, but also in other volumes. The visions that assail me whisper me names and silhouettes of mystical creatures. Soon the Malleus Monstorum, repository of all anatomical, cosmic and dimensional knowledge, will be seen as the authoritative work. This book, unholy among the most cursed books, will one day be the final rampart between man and the predators that are waiting to devour him, hidden behind the veils of parallel dimensions. Extract taken from the Malleus Bestiarium by Abigail G. Chapter 6 Clues. Letter by Sarah Hawkins. I beg you to give up hope of earning this accursed painting, etc. I've already read that. Key to the gallery. I'm going to really quickly check the key to the gallery on the other doors, though I doubt they'll work. Okay, let's go in the gallery. Let's enter the madness. Looks like a gallery to me. Looks like a museum. Fishy looking guy. Am I going to climb into this? Yes, I am. Is Pierce claustrophobic, or are these like magical closets? Okay, there's a Klingon weapon and 2 glowing tablets. Death Sphinx. More weapons. More Death Sphinxes. Statue of a humanoid with some sort of supplicating gesture. Tentacle face that looks a bit like Mr. Hawkins. I can't remember his first name. Sort of 2-headed. It's like 2 people joined together.
man transforms an entire wing of his manor into an art gallery.
Since was exclusively picked his pieces based on how horrifying and creepy they are. A child strangling a goose? What's going on there? What's his arm and the goose are wrapped around? Is it like a tree branch? I think it's just a tree branch. The bottom looks kind of square. That's going clean through the goose. More horrifying sphinxes. Weird painting of another dimension. Miniature versions of stuff I've already seen. Alright, there's the Shambler, so at least I know where my journey in this room ends. Okay, that looks like some sort of succubus. Or fallen angel. It's the least disturbing thing I found in here. Another kid strangling another goose. What is that? A head. No eyes. Did that become a self-fulfilling prophecy when Sanders ripped his own eyes out? Tentacle lion. Whoa. That's a bit H.R. Geiger. Is it H.R. Geiger? It's a bit Geiger. A bit Alien. Alien franchise is what I'm trying to say. That's a good comment there, Pierce. I'm not even going to click on that because I'll just hide in there and freak out. What is that? Can't see it through the hand icon. Oh, it's a lamp refill. Weird. Whoa.
Why was he so interested in old weapons?
It's like a giant scarab beetle. What is that? I think it might be. Okay, is there anywhere in here that I could illuminate better with my lantern? What does this door do? Everything looks pretty well illuminated.
The public entrance to the gallery.
Okay, so I can't use it. So all that is left is to look at the Shambler, unless I've missed something. More lamp oil. More kids strangling geese. Okay. Let's see what happens when I study this.
What the hell was that?
Okay, I've got a new mental trauma from the Malleus Bestiarium. Pierce read in ancient treaties the Malleus Bestiarium. This bestiary makes an inventory of numerous creatures from the occult world or parallel dimensions. The very nature of its knowledge makes it an unholy book. By reading it, Pierce lost some of his sanity shaken. The ordeals you have gone through have left their mark, but you still manage as best as you can. You keep your mind busy in order to chase away doubts and painful memories. You still have some way to go. Who knows where your mind could lead you along the paths of insanity? Is that the same thing it said before? I can't remember if I read this or not. Can't remember if I read the top part. The Shambler is a painting. Irene Sanders doesn't seem to know what she hates the most, Sarah Hawkins or her work. The fact remains that she accuses her of costing her husband's sanity. He apparently gouged his own eyes out under the influence of the painting. I must see it. The key to the gallery is probably in the office. Pardon me. Breviary of Medicine, Tomb 2. Diary of the Pastor's Wife 3. Amulet. Sleeping pills. Okay, is that thing still... It sounds like it's still here. Oh, am I dead? Did I just die? I mean, it knows I'm in here, surely. Yep, it knows I'm here. Oh. Oh, I have to watch the whole thing again. I kind of want to watch the whole thing again. So those pictures on the wall weren't Geiger aliens. They were the Shambler. Which sort of looks like the Shambler from Quake if it, like, was shaved. If you shaved the Quake Shambler.
What the hell was that?
Is it moving or is it staying still? Where is it? Here it comes. Don't look through the slats. Try and make it to the door.
I can't even touch it.
Okay. Let's skip this.
What the hell was that?
It's the Shambler piece. Haven't you been paying attention? Alright, we'll get to that first closet. I don't know if there's any point in being here because it didn't seem to notice me that time. Okay, so I need to get Pierce to realise there's no escape.
I can't even touch it.
It's too dark for me to say why I can't touch it, but it looks sort of... Damn it! That's me. What about the many weapons lying around?
What the hell was that? I can't even touch it. No way out. No choice. I must get rid of it.
Come through or not? Sounded like it saw me.
Damn. Did it hear that?
Sounds like I'm gonna have a heart attack. Alright, I've got a knife, but does that mean I can kill it?
Maybe I can use this dagger.
Okay, didn't really give me a chance to use the dagger.
What the hell was that?
Is it going to come through?
Damn. Maybe I can use this dagger.
Okay, when it came after me before, I swear pressing white trigger made me swing the dagger. Makes me block. It's about to kill me. I'm gonna climb out and block. I couldn't really see what was going on, but I take it blocking didn't work. Can I use the dagger and a lantern at the same time? My other idea is to slash the painting with the dagger.
Damn. Maybe I can use this dagger.
Yeah. What?
Damn it! This dagger didn't work.
Oh.
What the hell was that?
Well, how many daggers are there?
Damn. Maybe I can use this dagger.
I mean, this looks pretty Lovecraftian. Looks like so that thing's gonna come at me as soon as I get near the painting. Nope.
Damn it! This dagger didn't work.
No.
What the hell was that?
Oh, so many daggers.
Maybe I can use this dagger.
Is he coming? Is that him? Swear to God if he stabs me right now. Do or die. Die.
Damn it! This dagger didn't work.
Okay, I can't remember which ones I've tried in this room. Just looks like a stick. Oh, it's right there. Wow. This just seems like trial and error with a death and a cutscene in between everyone.
What the hell was that?
Maybe the book tells me the answer.
Maybe I can use this dagger.
maybe I could if he didn't see me grab it.
What the hell was that? Maybe I can use this dagger.
Don't look in here. Oh, it's right there. I don't know why I'm going through the first room first, because I'm pretty sure it's not the first room.
Maybe I can use this dagger.
Not hiding. Hasn't done me any good so far.
Damn it! This dagger didn't work. What the hell was that?
I'm not finding this process enjoyable. If there was a hint earlier on in the game as to which dagger to use, I missed it. What did I just got this dagger. I haven't used this dagger. Can't remember if I've used that one.
Damn, maybe I can use this dagger.
Right now it's coming straight for me. Damn it.
Damn it! This dagger didn't work.
Kill me the moment I step out. Yep. Yes, it is. Oh, that's freaky. before I died, Pierce said this dagger looks different. So, that's the dagger.
What the hell was that?
Just gonna see me. Yes, it is.
This dagger looks different.
I hope it disappears straight away when I hit this thing. Uh-oh.
What's the matter with you? You sure you won't be needing that hand? You're losing it, Detective. At this rate, you're right. The bottle will get you before I do.
You didn't see anything.
I saw you within an inch of putting a dagger through your forearm. Did I miss something more interesting?
No, I just drank a bit too much.
It's nothing. I think I just drank too much.
That goes without saying. If you can't tell the difference between reality and fiction, then you're in real trouble.
You didn't hear anything?
I ran, screamed, broke a pane of glass. You were in the next room and you didn't hear a thing.
If I hadn't heard a thing, I'd still be in the other room. The door was blocked. I got in as soon as I could. I like to look after my goods.
You mean me?
Don't flatter yourself, sweetheart. I'm talking about the contents of this gallery. And by the way, where do you think you're going with that dagger?
It saved my life. It's an extraordinary dagger.
You should talk to Algernon Drake. He's an antique dealer here on Darkwater. He'll tell you all about it. From what I saw in the ledgers, it was him who sold it to Sanders.
And you give me this information free of charge?
It's not your style to give me free information like that.
Take it as payment for being my canary. A simple trade-off. Now go see your antique seller. I still got things to settle with Irene.
Alright, that's the end of Chapter 6. Chapter 7, The Nameless Bookstore. The Shambler turned out to be much more than an artwork painted by Sarah Hawkins, as a huge creature came out of the painting to attack Pierce. After a hard fight, the detective managed to send it back into the painting. He later discovered that the dagger he used to repel the creature had been sold to Sanders by a man named Algernon Drake, owner of the Nameless Bookstore. Pierce decides to pay the library a visit. Okay, so that's going to be like the end of my video, because I do one chapter per video, but I'm going to enter the next chapter to make sure of all those saves. Hijinks have occurred. Poor Pierce still hasn't had a drink. He just got attacked by a dimensional shambler and hasn't. Okay. So yeah, that's my video. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to hit subscribe if you haven't done so already, which you should have because I told you to at the start of the video. And also hit that notification bell so that you get notified of new uploads. Feel free to like, comment, and share. All that stuff helps the channel out heaps. Gives me motivation to make more videos. Yeah, and feedback in the comment section would be great. So yeah, I hope you see you in the next video. Peace out, interwebs.